This is an AVNation special. My name is Tom Albright. I'm your host. With us for this special edition is Mr. Chuck Wilson, my buddy, my pal from NSCA. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hi, everyone.
Also with us is Jennifer Willard from the Women NAV and also JT Technology Solutions. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello there, Tim. Hi, everyone.
And last but not least, Mr. Steve Ensbeck from Shen, Milsom, and Wilkie, and also from the Drunk Unkles. Hello, sir.
Tim, how are you? It's a genuine pleasure to be here today.
I appreciate it, sir. Well, the reason we're getting together, we're recording this about a week out from InfoComm 2015. Not for nothing, but this is, or will be at least, the 10th anniversary of said Drunk Unkles. If you're not familiar with the Drunk Unkles, we're going to talk about that a little bit, how they got started, and what they have to do with NSCA, with Women in AV, and also with the industry. So, Steve, real quickly, give people, if you're not familiar with the analogs, the annals of Drunk Uncle history, how'd you guys get started exactly?
Well, you know, by misfortune in a way. We had been getting together after work in an informal jam, you know, just having fun. And the unfortunate part of it was that an associate of ours, somebody who had worked with me here at Shen, Milsom, Wilkie, had passed away. Very unfortunate situation. A young guy doing the right thing for people. During the summer, he went out to the beach. Somebody had left something on the beach that had been cleared because of a weather incident, and he went out on the beach to retrieve whatever it was, and he didn't come back. He was struck by lightning and left two young children. And, you know, it's just one of those really horrible, horrible situations that you read about, and you scratch your head and you say, wow, how could that happen? What, you know, it's just one of those deals. So, you know, here we are, the band was, you know, all within the AV community, and we all knew him. And it was a matter of saying, well, we should do something. What do you want to do? Well, let's go try to raise some money, because as we all know, the AV industry, you know, you typically don't make a whole lot of money, and you don't have a whole lot of insurance. And when you're in your mid-30s or thereabouts, or late 30s even, you're not thinking too much about life insurance and, you know, what that means. And here you go. You know, here was a guy had a problem. So we did what seemed to be a fairly intuitive thing to do, figure out how to go raise some money and have at it. So the Drunk Unkles came about. It was dubbed the Steve Ensbeck Blues Band for no particular reason, which I worked hard at trying to get out of very quickly. It's not, you know, I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm not a stand up there, put my name up in front guy, not at all. So we did our little fundraiser, and it was a terrific event here in the city. We did what has become somewhat of a default for the Drunk Unkles. We went ahead and took a space for the evening, a place called the Supper Club, and you know, put out a bunch of invitations and reached out to, you know, our supporters in the industry, our friends, the manufacturers, the sales reps, you know, and said, hey, can you help? And the AV community stepped up big time. They donated money, they donated people, they donated equipment, they donated everything we needed to the tune of, we were able to give the widow and children, I think something like $47,000 that night in cash.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that was after paying expenses, and the expenses probably ran us $10,000 to $12,000. So you know, we did pretty good there. So we had fun doing it, and along the line, we had a number of other musical entities join us, some within the industry, some outside of the industry, and it just became a terrific event, and we enjoyed it. So that was the basic genesis of you know, the Drunk Unkles, and then we started playing a couple of bars and, you know, just having a good time with it. And then Chuck showed up in New York one day, came into my office with, who did you have with you? Do you remember?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well,
I,
he
I
had
can't
some young
remember.
woman with him. How
It
much
was
I
a couple of
remember.
years ago, Steve.
That was '05.
Yeah.
By then, that was in '05. You came in, and you were here for the AES convention, New York AES. And, stopped in my office in the afternoon, and we were chatting a little bit. And, Chuck, I don't remember how I actually said it. I said, well, the band is playing tonight. Why don't you come down and hang out? And he said, well, I'd love to do it. Little did I know that at the time, Chuck Wilson was a frustrated rock and roll promoter. I had absolutely no idea that this is what he really, really wants to do. So anybody thinks that Chuck is committed to be the executive director of the NSCA until the world ends is totally mistaken. Totally.
Well, and there's not a whole lot of rock and roll groups that go through Cedar Rapids. I mean, that's just
No.
that's part of the issue.
No.
So Chuck,
Yeah.
can we talk about it for a second? I mean, you meet Steve in New York in 2005. How did the raising money for a fallen comrade work its way into raising money for the NSCA Education Foundation?
Well, the details are a little sketchy, perhaps here, but as I recall it, what we had talked about is let's just go to Vegas. We're doing the trade show in Vegas probably the next April or March, and we thought, well, let's just have the band play and have a night of fun. And I don't know if we started out thinking let's keep the fundraising activity going to begin with, or let's just have a night of fun. I don't know which came first, but very quickly, as I recall, we married the two ideas together. So we not only had the party, but we had the purpose, and so now we have a party with a purpose is how I look at it. So we started out very small. We never even, I don't know, maybe we just took a donation at the door or something, but it started out very small, very humble. We did it at the beach in Vegas, as many people will recall that venue and everything, and then it just went on from there. We had some unfortunate situations in between times as well, additional people that were in need and stuff, and so we helped them out. The foundation kind of solidified its mission at that time in conjunction with the relationship with the Drunk Unkles as we started to build that mantra of helping build the next generation for our industry, and it just all kind of fell together. So we provided scholarships, did all sorts of programs in the middle, and I don't even, I wish I even knew the number of this, but I bet you 25 or 35 new education programs were developed for people in our industry as a result of the first maybe 5 or 7 years of the Drunk Uncles raising money for the foundation. I don't even know what the number would be because we never really kept track of that. So that's how it just kept getting better and better and bigger, and people responded very well. People started showing up, and the band held together, and so it's just been a wonderful thing.
Well, and you guys have Steve sent over. It was very nice enough to send over just kind of a precursor. You guys have raised $500,000. Give or take a penny or two here. In the last 10 years, that's not exactly small change. I mean, you're talking about $500,000. Chuck, from a logistical standpoint, how does that relationship work? Is this because you've got quite a number of corporate sponsors and a vast variety, just kind of an array of corporate sponsors who come along and obviously donate money. So how does that translate into getting them into the education and doing things like sponsoring scholarships to go to the NSCA BLC, which this past year you guys were able to send 23 people to the BLC because of it.
Yeah. So over the years, and we're estimating that as a result of the Drunk Uncles doing what they've been doing for the past decade, is we think that number is pretty close to $1 million that we've been able to put into the Education Foundation as a result of their efforts. And so what happens, like if you can see this here, this is the card from this year where we show all these sponsors, so you can see them lined up. That we have quite a following. I think it's everybody that that's sponsored from the years prior, but they come back and they want to donate money to this particular cause, and they want to donate money to get their friends and the industry together to enjoy some good music and everything. So it just kind of evolved into this. So like this year, we're bringing in another $100,000 on June 17th, money from the sponsors that will go into the Education Foundation, and then from there, like Steve is one of the Education Foundation board members, the foundation board then takes a look at how we allocate that funding. So we give money to WAVE and the mentoring program that they have developed over the years. We give money to a host of education programs that NSCA develops, and then gets people, subsidizes the cost of the tuition or the enrollment into that. That the BLC thing you're talking about, again, an unfortunate situation, but one of Steve and my good friends, Randy Vaughn, passed away a while ago, and so we named a scholarship after him, and that's been self-funded for a number of years, thanks to the Drunk Unkles as well, is being able to provide, like last year it was like $24,000 or $25,000 that was put into that scholarship fund alone. And then we have a number of other new initiatives and everything. So we could go on all day long. And what's crazy about this thing here is that while we've raised $1 million and we spent all that money, the good news is we still have $1 million in the bank in the foundation.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing, is that you think with the foundation like this that you better, hunker down and not spend all that money. But it just seems that the more we invest into the right programs, like this new Safer Schools initiative we're doing, and this, I don't know if you've seen this new Ignite program, but it's called Ignite, and then sparking your interest in technology. It's a high school level, technical school level outreach program that is trying to get young people excited about our industry, and coming right from that like junior and high school level on to determine which college to go to try to figure out what kind of career they would like, and hopefully that involves us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just wild how this has just taken off over the years.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's great that we've had the opportunity to help support this and promote education in general, almost regardless of where it goes. Any place that we can, I've spent over 40 years in this industry, and if we can go ahead and somehow invigorate the industry with youth and get money to help with education, there's nothing better really. So Chuck, I want to talk about that $1 million you're holding on to every year. We could get more T-shirts. Keep on saying we can't have T-shirts. I wanted 15,000 luggage tags to give away, and you said no, you're going to get 600. Maybe. We got to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I am a very frugal guy. One of the things about being a former integrator myself and a former business person is we do, and coming from the Midwest where I'm from, is that we have a very strong sense of working everything from a budget. So we're very, very cautious on how we spend each and every dollar. So I am kind of guarded in that sense. But the good news is that the foundation is in great shape thanks to Steve and his buddies at the Drunk Unkles and the other, and we have an ongoing foundation program that we started this year. It's a year-round program, and we've had several of our manufacturers contribute at a very high level. We're getting ready to announce one here in the next couple weeks. It's going to be probably the single biggest altogether foundation donation coming up. So I'm pretty excited about doing that. So it's just been a great thing, and the flywheel is turning. And I tell you, the Drunk Unkles were the ones that really got that flywheel going. So they're just the greatest guys in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen, let's talk about how Women in AV kind of fits into all this. And Women in AV turns 4 years old this year, and Chuck mentioned the fact that part of the benefits of the Drunk Unkles concert are some of the mentoring programs that you guys have going on. How did you first get involved in NSCA and the Drunk Unkles?
Well, great. Yes, exactly. Chuck and Steve are definitely some of our first and biggest supporters that we've had. for the women in AV. We do a lot with NSCA on a year-round basis when it comes to the women in AV. And I mean, I think anybody that knows Chuck or doesn't know Chuck knows that he is just incredibly giving to all of the industry and supportive of everybody, as is Steve. And so we got together and just sort of partnered up in the way that, you know, we support them and they support us. I mean, Steve is fantastic. We've done, you know, the mentoring, the webinars, we've done the concerts. This past year was the first time that we went for one Woman in AV BLC scholarship. So you mentioned the 23 people that went to the Business Leadership Conference for NSCA. So we went for one Woman in AV, thought that that would be really fantastic, and it was Steve and the Drunk Unkles, again, doing a fundraiser in New York City where they played a concert, and everybody rallied around to raise money for it. Through the efforts that they both did, we ended up sending 3 this year. So, I mean, right out of the gate, you know, when, you know, Chuck talks about, like, you know, how it seems to pay itself over, if you do things for the right reasons and with the right heart, it naturally lends itself to just keep growing. So, I mean, that was really wonderful. And every year, you know, love the Drunk Unkles concert. It's one of the favorite parts of, you know, the entire show. And so to the extent that we can support Steve and Chuck and NSCA, they've been wonderful and fantastic partners for us likewise. So we always enjoy getting to, you know, hang out with them. And they have a Woman in AV in their band. So tell them about Lisa.
You know, I like to think that these events we do are somewhat, let me call them, non-threatening. What I mean by that is, you know, totally nonpartisan. You look at the sponsors that are on this list, and these guys, many of them are highly competitive. Yet you walk into that environment and it's totally neutral. And I think that, you know, and I know for a fact that when we started these conversations and we started talking about raising money and talking to these manufacturers, Chuck and I really spent a lot of time discussing this whole thing. And I said, look, it's got to be non-competitive. I don't want to just have one audio guy or one video guy. You know, we've got to get in it, and we've just got to get everybody together. And that's always been in my mind, the driving force. And, you know, we talk about the women in AV, and that's an important element. I mean, quite honestly, you know, there are not enough, let's just put it in the terms of minorities in the industry. And women surely feel, you know, fall right into that category. And we've seen, quite honestly, that when we don't support the women in AV, fewer people show up. So think about that. I think that's an important conversation to have, and Jennifer's laughing.
Well, you know, I mean, what can you say? We bring the 10 women there. You know, of course, people are going to show up.
You know, at any rate, so, you know, there's good reason. There's a lot of good reason. You know, putting money into education, getting people together, you know, in a non-competitive, non-threatening environment to have fun is really what it's about. And you know, before, Tim, I had mentioned to you, you know, it's to give back in a way from the sponsors and the manufacturers to get together, and not just the manufacturers. Over the last couple of years, we've actually gotten a couple of the integrators involved, and, you know, we're trying to expand the horizons, if you will, to get more groups involved and more diversity in what we're doing.
Well,
this is.
If I could just add one other thing to that is, you know, exactly the point. It's, you know, our industry, and, you know, you won't find 2 gentlemen that are more giving in our industry and are more wanting and willing to help people. So it's a natural, you tend to see people gravitate towards that. And so, you know, by that, they're also surrounded by other people, and people want to be around them that want to give. And so it's an ongoing sort of thing. And the women in AV, you know, we are really honored and thrilled to be able to always support, you know, the Drunk Unkles and NSCA, you know, every year, so as much as we can. So, I mean, it's always a win-win. And, you know, our industry, just in and of itself, I always say our industry is such that we provide service. We're not the type of industry that does things for ourselves, generally speaking. So you tend to find people that really are interested and get really excited about helping and giving to others. So I mean, it's a really fantastic opportunity for everyone, I think.
Steve, this is, like we've said it a couple times before, but this is your 10th anniversary. Anything special next week when you jump on stage? Any theatrics, any pyrotechnics, anything special for the 10th anniversary? Spandex, maybe?
Oh yeah. We're going to do something special. For us at this point in our lives, getting on stage is special. Forget the jumping on stage. Getting on stage is an event unto itself. Get everything lined up. I think the one thing we're going to do different this year is we're going to start about 9 o'clock, which is what we've done historically, and we are not going to take a break this year. We're just going to play through for an hour and a half or so, something like that. So Chuck, here you go. You can think about your schedule a little bit. Whatever you want to do, either you're going to do it early or you're going to do it late, but you're not going to do it in the middle. We do have, once again, a guitar giveaway. We've got a really, really nice Gibson SG have everybody throw their business cards in a fishbowl, and we're going to pick it out at some point and congratulate the guy. But we're not stopping. We're going to play till we drop. Play till we drop. So I think that's about the only special thing. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've got a handful of guests that are going to be joining us on stage, but historically, we've always done that. We will have a harmonica player come up, a sax player. I think we got a couple of different drummers this year. We have another guitar player joining us. So we've got this revolving thing, and it's fun. It's unscripted to a certain extent. It's unscripted, and no surprises that I know of. But then again,
you are the surprise.
Yeah. Ooh. Real quickly, let's talk about the band makeup. Who besides Steve Empek, obviously, makes up the Drunk Unkles?
Wow. Well, the cast of characters. Mark Hochlerin is the drummer. Mark is a consultant working for Longman Lindsay here in New York City. Mike Phillips, BMG Hudson Marketing, sales rep here in the New York area. John Cardone, sales rep, Cardone Solomon here in New York. Felix Robinson, VP at AVI-SPL. That's the core guy band that's in the industry. We have Lisa Wenger, who Lisa used to work for Bosch. She no longer does. She's out of the industry, but she's part of our band. She's our drunk aunt. The interesting thing about Lisa, other than the fact that we totally love her and she's got this most amazing voice, she lives in Minneapolis. So when we have rehearsals and gigs, she gets on a plane. We pay for that ticket. Thank you, Chuck. And she comes in and joins us wherever we may be. And over the last couple of years, we've been blessed, very much so, where she brings her husband Billy along. And Billy is a terrific musician, a singer and a guitar player. And he's joined us in the past, and we're hoping that he's going to come join us again this year for a couple of tunes. Other people that I think are going to guest with us. Let's see, Ken Hardig, I guess is his name. He's in San Francisco. Jennifer, Ken.
Oh, Ken Graven. Ken Graven from Salter.
Thank you. Glenn Mack.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, Ken Graven, exactly. And then Glenn Mack, who plays harmonica, and keys, very talented musician down in Florida, will be joining us. Paul Regensburg, who is within the Sharp organization, will be joining us on drums. Rob Diodario will also be joining us on drums. We got the ray going on this year, I guess.
Now, are you going to have different drums, like multiple drummers at the same time, or are these guys
going to? No. We'll switch off a little bit here and there. The stage is not big enough, and we're not coordinated enough for everybody to keep time like that. I can't even count, so that's another whole thing. But that's you just got the whole groovy mess there. Not just the core band itself. And the band, though, the core band has been together from day one. The That has not changed at all. These are the same guys that we used to jam with. These are the guys that got on stage at what we called Cliff's Jam for that gentleman who passed away. And, you know, we're here, we're in the industry, and that's what makes this cool. We're all in this industry together. We understand it.
Absolutely.
You know, too, Steve, if I could add, you know, another real important person to the band is Mike Sinclair. And I didn't realize what a good guitar player the guy is, but
yeah.
I think for what the last 5-6 years, something like that, Mike and his company is Audio Incorporated, right, out in Jersey there.
Yes.
But that guy will not let me pay him. I tried to pay him again today for his services to help do the front of house and organize the back line and the PA and all that stuff, and he just donates his time to the foundation. So what a great guy there. So thank you for bringing him to my attention as well over the years.
Well, Mike is awesome. He's got a tremendous resume, and, you know, I'm happy to promote him. And you know why he won't charge you? I do. I know why. All right, because he considers that mixing board to be his trade show booth at Infocom. And he picks up an awful lot of business as a result of that.
Well, he should. He's very good at it.
He is very good.
Yeah. Chuck, real quickly, let's talk about a couple of different kind of logistic issues. If someone's interested in going, if someone's interested in attending the Drunk Unkles concert and the NSCA event, how do they get in the door?
Well, this is the highly coveted invitation. The hottest ticket in town is right here that I've got in my hands. The Decade of Defiance Drunk Unkles Rise from the Swamp invitation. The easiest way to do that is just to go to the Drunk Unkles website or the NSCA Education Foundation website, and you can actually print off a copy at your printer there at work and bring that with you. Also, the highly collectible luggage tags that Steve were talking about is we're going to insert a miniature version of this invitation in the luggage tag. So we're gonna make sure that the sponsors at the booth. So if you go to any of the sponsors like AMX and Christie and Chief and all these companies, if you go to any of their booth on Wednesday, they'll have these invitations for people. Or you can go to drunkunkles.com, download it there, or nscafoundation.org and download it there. So we're trying to make it available any way that we can, or just call the office here if you want to, and somebody will make sure that they send in an email version of that to you.
And Unkles is spelled Unkles, just to I'm not sure. And Steve is watching on video. Steve is the T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the special 10th anniversary collector's item T-shirt that he's got right there.
There's the T-shirt. We got it right here. It's a really, really cool T-shirt this year. We did a great job, and we cataloged the back of it of all the different venues that we've done over the last 10 years with the NSCA. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
Very cool. Chuck, if someone's interested in sponsoring the Drunk Unkles and this event, you've got, like you guys said, you know, AMX and Daylight and a number of Chief, a number of corporate and a couple of integrators coming alongside you. How does that happen? Do they just call up, Chuck Wilson and say, "Hey, Chuck, I'd like to give you some money"? How does that work?
That works. That works. Hey, Chuck is really, really good at taking money from people.
Yeah. No, you can't do it now anymore, of course, because we've got everything printed up. But like AMX by Harman, Daylight, Chief, Surgex, Christie, FSR, Liberty, NEC, Sharp, Cinex. It goes on and on. RPV, West Penn, Whitlock, Winstead, Cheerline, Stewart, VPO, JBA, Advanced AV, IVCI, Lencore. I mean, we got a tremendous amount of sponsors this year, and we basically just cut it off at a certain point in time. But what's really nice about this new program the foundation has is we have a annual year-round program now. So if someone were to want to be a sponsor starting, say, July 1st, we'll roll that forward for a calendar year. So we'll carry it over into next year's event and so on. And that'll include the golf outing at the BLC and a whole bunch of other things. So there's kind of a bundled package approach now that that we're doing, and it makes it easier, so we have something for everybody all year long.
Very cool. Jennifer, as far as women AV and just the industry in general, as someone who has gone from being a technology manager to more of a consultant and kind of a business-to-business liaison, how important is this event, and not only from an education standpoint and a fundraising standpoint, but also as a networking event? I mean, let's be honest here. You've got a number of manufacturers, giant swath from control and automation all the way through mounting and other wire cable. Andy is there with West Penn. How important is this event for folks to come out and hang out during the week of InfoComm?
Well, I think it's really important. One thing I just wanted to mention in terms of the timing, just real quickly, is this year it's really important for people to consider that the event is actually on Wednesday. So it is the first day of the show, so don't let it slip your mind to go to the sponsors booth and to actually get your tickets. It's just, you can print it out ahead of time, but just make sure it is actually on the first day of the show. And to your question, I think it's incredibly important. Part of what makes our industry so fantastic is the relationships that we build and the relationships that we have. It's not this, what you might expect in another STEM industry like the IT industry, where everybody is more or less in their own sort of silos. Part of what makes everyone in our industry successful and our business, Steve mentioned Mike Sinclair, part of being involved in the Drunk Unkles is because it's successful for him. And it's the same thing with whether you're a woman in AV, getting to know other women, having the opportunity to see other women, or getting to see other sponsors and getting to talk to manufacturers. We all do amazing things in our industry, but when it comes down to it, being able to be together and get to know each other and, hey, this is my friend. I mean, because we're friends in the end, and this is my friend, but then they're also, a fantastic, person that you can do business with. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for anybody that wants to come down and meet and get to know who's who in the industry and who's, really, contributing to what we do outside of InfoComm.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, as we wrap up here, what's one or two things that you would want to say to folks that if they've never been to the event, why should they come?
Well, if you've never been there, if you've never come, you really should. It's a different experience. I think we've really done a good job of covering all the bases. It's a very non-discriminatory environment. Come on and have a good time, have a drink with friends. Chuck always has a pocket full of drink tickets available, as do many other people. It is what it is. It's become, I think it's become the largest off-site event at InfoComm with independent sponsorship, if you will. It's not a manufacturer's party. It's a party. And come on down. We'll start at 9. We'll wrap this thing up by 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we'll all be able to, hopefully go back to our rooms and go to sleep and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to our first breakfast meeting, which we all do. We all do it. We all do it. We all do it. Everybody says, "Oh my God, how are we going to do that?" You get it together. Believe me, you get it together. It may be a little foggy. You may not remember that 6 a.m. meeting, but we do it. But it's you know what, Tim? It's fun, and if you want to have fun, this is the thing to do.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. And by the way, in conflict with what is being said here, you show up at a show credential, you're going to get in. We're not going to say no. The other thing to say, though, historically, by about 9:15, we've had to shut that door down because of overcrowding, and it generally stays that way for about 15, 20 minutes. So the tip, I suggest you get there early and find your spot along the rail. Get your drink in hand.
All right, very good. A decade of defiance, the Drunk Unkles rise from the swamp. Wednesday, June 17th, 8:30 at BB King's Blues Club. Thank you, sir. Steve, thank you for joining us. How can people find out more about you, Jen Milson, or the Drunk Unkles?
Well, drunkunkles.com, that works. ShenMilsonWilkie.com, that works. Or find me on the show floor or walking the streets in New York City. I'm a pretty accessible person.
All right. Mr. Chuck Wilson from NSCA, thank you, sir.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate
Absolutely.
your time today.
Anytime, sir. How can people find out more about you and the NSCA?
Our website is the easiest. It's just nsca.org, and then it links to the foundation and to the Unks and all that other stuff. So it's a pretty good place to start, and to Wave and others. So it's a good where to start.
Right, nsca.org. And last but not least, my buddy Jennifer Willard from Women in AV and JT Technology Solutions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, gentlemen. Look forward to seeing you guys all next week. So you can find Women in AV at www.womeninav.com. You can also see that below is where you can find us on Twitter. We have all of our social media channels, so that's always an easy way to find us. And you can find myself at JH Willard. That's at Twitter, so that's the easiest way to find me.
All right, very good. Don't forget, like I said, next Wednesday, as this recording is, but it's June 17th, 8:30 at BB King's in Orlando. It's just off International Drive, basically right across from the Orange County Convention Center. So thank you for joining us, gentlemen, and Jennifer. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. This has been an AVNation special.